So today's kind of special. I didn't realize it, but I found myself on the side road, and I went for decided to get out of the car and cross this bridge right here, mainly because of the water. But then I saw something that I think some of you might want to see. So let me show you. Now, one might think that this river right here is a defining boundary. And you know what? They would be right. Because we are crossing into my home away from home. Look, guys. Look where we are. Yeah, that's right. We're in Poland. We made it. We made it back home. So, let's go see what Poland has to offer. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, before you get too excited exploring Poland with me, I just want you to know this is not the same Poland. And you'll see that very soon. Yeah, you'll note we are on the east side of Poland. You'll note the farm-style wooden homes. Oh, you got some traffic behind me already. Guess they don't want us to explore this hillside community, rolling hills community. Wow, there's actually like a train depot here. Maybe. I mean, I do see the railroad line. So that's kind of like our Poland, right? This Poland, though, the one that we're driving through, used to be known as Bakerstown. And I don't think it was until like the it wasn't until sometime in the 1700s, later 1700s. It wasn't until 1795 that this area, this 45 square miles, was incorporated as Poland. And it was because of Moses, I don't remember his last name, but this guy named Moses, who liked to read a lot of Psalms, and there was a song that he liked that, I guess, there was an ancient melody called Poland. I guess he didn't realize that it should have meant land of fields, not all the trees we have here. I got some vintage cars there. I don't know. I don't think we're in like the popular part of Poland right now. I think we're going to have to do some exploring to figure out, I don't know, where everything is. Where is everyone? You know what I mean? Well, I can tell that I'm not in... Well, I must be in a different kind of Poland because I'm surrounded by trucks. I mean, look at these things. I'm like in truck row right here. But, I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe this really is the real Poland that I'm familiar with. I mean, look at this flowing field right here. I mean, that's what I was used to when I'd hop on the train. I did see this kid out in his yard. I was going to stop and I was going to ask him, does he consider himself to be Polish? You know, since he lives here. But, yeah, I thought that might be a little bit awkward. I will say, in this part of Poland, where we are, this is a golf club, actually, where we pulled off. I'll give you a quick little snippet. Yeah, over this little field right here, you got an immaculately groomed golf course. As they're listening to Semi-Charmed Life. My God, are we stuck back in the 1990s? Probably. Now, you know how I can tell that this is really Maine, though? Where else could you get away with the product name of this? Blackie's. Farm fresh produce. Just turned off at Range Pond State Park, I guess. So like the Poland that I'm familiar with, there are some parks. I've never been over here before, so I don't know what to expect of it. As you see, it's quite wooded. And from what I read, this is a great area for hiking. We'll see if that's the case. Although what I'm doing is I'm just driving in. We just passed the gate. I expected there to be someone that was going to charge me some money to bring my car in, but so far so good. Oh, here we are. I was going to say, there has to be a gate. All right, man, we just scored. As a veteran, guess what? It's free. I just asked the lady at the gate. I didn't know if I could film or not, so I didn't want to be that guy. But I just said, hey, do I have to pay? And she's like, no, you're free. And she waved me right through, but she was on her way. I didn't want to be like, filming. But, all right, so we got into the park. Let's take a look. I'm loving this already. I feel like I'm in motherland of Poland, where I was always able to find some free stuff. And here I am at Range Pond Park, and it's free, as a veteran. But if you're a Maine resident, I guess to get in here, to use their facilities, to use their trails, it's $5. If you're not a Maine resident, I didn't see the price. Maybe it's $7. But this also reminds me of... So we got a nice big map here, and it's with its trails. And then they explain how you can enjoy the park year-round, which is cool. If you look right here, see? Snow and ice. You can go out there skating and cross-country skiing. I'm going to make a note. I can come here for cross-country skiing. So we're right here. Range Pond. See? Town of Poland, baby. All right. Let's go look at the pond. And then we'll head into the... We'll head into the Metropolitan Center. Well, a couple people asked to see, some people at the beaches. Well, guess what? You're getting your luck today. We'll go over here. No lifeguard on duty, though. Oh, this is beautiful. This reminds me of like different state parks that I've been in back in my home state of New Hampshire, where you got the lakes. Water's not that deep, but you can get in and you can get wet. And this is cool. I've never seen this before. There's like a handicap ramp for a handicapped person to get in the water. That's very nice. And see, if you can look in the distance, there's some people there on their for the kayaks. So one big difference between this Poland and the Poland that I lived in for the past year. And granted, I didn't want to zoom in and be creepy, but you'll notice that there's definitely a size difference between the people. Yeah. So, now granted, if this was, say, back in 1999, not when I went to Poland, but when I went to Yaroslavl in Russia, I remember running by this one beach, and everyone, regardless of age and size, was in either a Speedo or in a two-piece. Here, yeah, haven't been. This is why I usually swim by myself. Kind of takes away the fun. But in all seriousness, if I was to go hang out here at this type of park, I would just be walking on the trails and then trying to find a quieter place to put my toes in the water. One more thing before we get in the car. One more huge difference I've noticed here in Poland, Maine, as opposed to Poland. And it's just Maine in general, this part of Maine. People, for the most part, have a ton more tattoos. Like, it's one thing where in Poland, you might have some people that have a couple on their arm or whatnot, but here it's like all over your arms, all over your legs, stomach, back. It is, I say this is the tattoo capital of the United States. Could be wrong about that, but that's what it feels like. Here's a random question for you. Maybe someone knowledgeable can actually tell me this, but if you have a bunch of tattoos that cover your, cover your neck, cover your arms, blah, 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 do you still need to put sunscreen on? Or are you already covered? Put that in the comments. I really want to know the answer to that. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm legitimately, it's a curiosity thing. Can you still get sunburned if you already have this, the ink layer on you? Well, we just passed the Poland Spring bottling facility. I thought there'd be some other place to see, but I drove by it way too fast. In this part of the world, for people that don't know, Poland spring water is very, very popular. It's bottled water, comes from the springs of Poland and the surrounding area, and is actually a way, was how this region kind of got thrown on the map. And like every part of Maine right now, in the summer, they are repaving and different roads, getting ready for the long winter. So if you like the smell of fresh pavement, you're missing out. And, you know, true to Americana, Poland has a Top Gun indoor gun range right here. Look at this. That's right, look at that. Woohoo! Looked like an M16 assault weapon they were advertising there. Yeah, there's too much area to cover if we were to walk, so let's see what this resort has to offer. There's a golf course right here, and this Poland Spring Resort was originally founded in 1794. And note how they still stressing the same type of lifestyle. We have a stress-free zone. We're going to go down that way in a minute. So Poland Spring, as I told you, the water source has been around since 1845. And as we cut onto this road for this park, I found two cool things that I think we need to check out. We have the Unity Chapel right here, I believe, with the door wide open. And then, it's the All Saints Chapel. So let's jump in there real quick. And then there's something even cooler that I did not expect to see today. So this was built as a non-denominational place for people to come. Got their stained glass. And people can still book this to this day as one of 3 wedding venues here in Poland Spring Resort. I like the 2 chairs, even though I know it's not supposed to be king and queen, but I like it. And then there's an organ right here. Old school for the... But you'll note, like, the decorations in here, they're very, I think I would use the word plain. And then here's something out of the past. Look, guys, it's a cassette player. How many people still have one of those? I mean, I do. My mom just gave me one. She said I could have hers. It's very nice of her. So this was not the original one. The original chapel was destroyed in 1975, but then they rebuilt it. But the pipe organ is from 1926. It's a Skinner pipe organ. So for you organ folks, there you go. Now, directly across the way, this is why I stopped. Did you know that the Golf Hall of Fame is right here? Yeah. I don't know if it's the PGA Golf Hall of Fame, but it says the Golf Hall of Fame. I just like the architecture of the building. Totally did not know that Poland Spring had this. Let me introduce you to the unsung hero, Togo. Togo was a sled dog, and he did a lot of good things. I could read you the thing, but you'll have to come here and read it for yourself. But yeah, they have a statue to a sled dog that was, I guess, from over 100 years ago. Not the statue itself, but pretty fitting with the sled dog right there. Right across the street is the Togo Storybook Trail. So when they say this is a resort, I mean, they really are selling it that way. If you don't want to play golf, you can walk the trails. There's tennis. I assume they have a swimming area. And if it's like traditional springs, maybe there's even a spring for you to jump into to help rejuvenate. Been over here before. I mean, where I'm from, this isn't like... You would hear of Poland Spring and everyone knew the water, but it wasn't like that we would drive over to Poland Spring just to come hang out. It was more of a Mainer thing, or probably for the well-to-do people who would go to these resorts, especially in the 1800s, which I wasn't alive for, as you all know. Look at these maple trees. I'll say this, I missed seeing maples. That's one thing about being back in the States. Loving my maples. All right, time for a history lesson. So this is the bottling facility in Springhouse. This was built in 1907. It actually replaces the wooden structures that they had built in the 1860s and then 1876. And eventually this was all moved to the base of the hill where we came in from. But anyway, this spring, which is over where the source is, where we're going to walk into, is where Hiram Ricker drank from in 1844. And he proclaimed the medicinal properties. And from him spreading the word, it just sort of took over, if you will. And that's where, boom, people were like, we need to have some Poland Spring water. It's kind of a funny sign, though, just like looking at it. I didn't think they'd have it covered up. So when they are like, legitimately are like, this is the source. This is where he first drank. All right, so let's take a look. I don't know how I feel about this. They made it in, I mean, clearly they made it into like a true museum. Down below they have the Sapientia Donum Dei. No idea what that means. And that's kind of funny, the wet floor in the spring. I like this pepper right here. Do you see the people in their clothes back in the 1800s? Because like literally this is where a lot of wealthy people would go during the height of the Victorian era. It was, we need to go to the Poland Spring Resort. So here's the source, and I don't know if you can read the sign, so I'll share it to you, but it says, Poland mineral water, Poland mineral water cures dyspepsia, cures liver complaint of long-standing, cures kidney complaints, cures gravel, drives out all humor and purifies the blood. For proof of the above, parties may visit the spring and use the water. Or they may buy of Dr. Haley, the only authorized agent for Brunswick and the vicinity. P.S. You can board at the spring, meaning because people would come here and stay here and drink it to be renewed and fixed. You can stay for $2.50 to $3.50 per week. So there you go. There's Poland Spring. So here's my question for my Polish viewers back in Poland. Do you guys have a famous spring that people would drink from for their medicinal qualities? Or is it just here in your sister area of Poland, Maine, that we have such things? Now, before we get back on the main, pun intended, road towards the center of Poland, I wanted to show you the Presidential Inn from 1912 right here. It's funny because I compare these to like a lot of the old 1800s, early 1900s resorts. So this is the one that they set up for here. And right now this guy is scraping away, trying to make it all pretty. This was originally, this is the Ricker Inn, and now known as the Presidential Inn. And it was one of the last 3 Ricker family-built hotels that they'd put on this property. Trying to see if there's anything worth mentioning besides that, but there's really not. The Roosevelt house right here is a private residence, and they have different buildings and cottages around for people to visit. But as we kind of have alluded to, when you come in here, really, it's a golf course that people come play right now. But you can stay at the Presidential Inn if you want to. There is a check-in, and you can live that part of history. One thing I was going to say is, if you look on the side, it has more of a, hey, camera. I was going to say, one more thing. If you look on the side, it definitely has more of like a boarding house look to me, but you'll note at the bottom, and I don't think it's for a decorum, I think it's a legitimate thing, that they must have actually had the foundation out of brick down below. So that's nice. That's probably why this place hasn't burned down. Well, this appears to be downtown Poland. There's the Log Yard Dairy Bar right there. Poland's Animal Hospital to our left. And we're going slower, which must mean that we're hitting like everything Poland. So here's the Poland Library. And then the Poland town office is right here. And then the medical center is, I think we just passed the medical center, I guess if you blink. And then here's the Poland Community School. This is considered Main Street. I haven't even gotten out of the car. Oh, look at this though. Look what I found. So right next to the school, pretty much, got a couple residential homes right here. You'll note, different than Poland, the country's construction, but right here, we've hit the Pine Grove Cemetery. And it wouldn't be a proper tour if I didn't give you a Polish cemetery. Now, what's interesting around this cemetery that I want to point out is anything that you put on these tombstones, like you can't put any like any flowers and stuff like that, or the candles. So like, let's say this was in Poland, the country, you can't leave the candles out on these year round. Come October 15th, they remove them because of winter. And if you want to switch to a Christmas wreath, you can put that down for the winter itself, but then they will remove them, like again, at that time. And so it's definitely like a contrast. I mean, so here's one of Poland's cemeteries, but aside from, I guess, the big difference of everything being below ground, it's definitely not as, it's not kept up as well, and it's not as, do I say warm? And yeah, I definitely miss Poland's cemeteries and the energy you get from them. And in kind of a weird, this is definitely more of a Maine thing, and I'll show you in the distance at the edge of the cemetery over there. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a baseball field. And for whatever reason, here in central Maine, they have this thing for putting Little League fields, baseball fields, soccer fields right next to the cemeteries. So I'd love to do like a comedic, like to be funny about it, but it's kind of dark humor to be commenting about, oh, well, if you don't do well in the baseball game, this is where you go. Or, I don't know. Yeah, so it's just one of those things. I don't really get that, because I would have just continued to use the cemetery and expand out, but they decided to use the space for family gatherings over there instead. But that's Maine for you. Well, I can't decide if a family got lazy or ran out of money or what. But over here, we have an interesting tombstone, to say the least. I don't believe they're the Rocky family. Unless maybe this does belong to Rocky Balboa. No, okay. Not funny at all. But in all seriousness, they definitely put this here. This is a plot. But there's nothing else to signify which family this belongs to. It's very odd. But yeah, I'm literally standing on top of someone. Weird. This is pretty clear. This is the Bray and Archibald, husband and wife. But that rock had nothing. One last thing about the cemetery here. Here, once you buy the plot, that's it. So you don't lose your plot like they do in Poland, where, like, I know in Krakow and in Krakow, if a plot's not paid for, or I don't know, there's some rules that a family can, lose their right to a site. Someone will have to explain that to me again, because I still don't understand it. It just seems like at some point, if you're not up to date on your payment, then they will bury someone else on top of you. They don't do that here. You'll note there are some sidewalks only on one side of the road. This goes to the high school, and back over there, the Poland Regional High School, and then all their athletic fields. But then when you look across the street, there's like this is the shopping you have, or there's a gas station. Oops. Hey, but a gas station with a McDonald's. Can't go wrong with that, right? And I'm trying to see if there's any other selling points for you guys, but honestly, here's Sam's Smokes and Novelties, but we're about to leave Poland. There is no, there's not a Żabka in sight. There's a Hannaford's grocery store right over there that I can't film correctly on just the way that the windows are, but yeah, this is Poland, folks. And we're leaving it. Going up to Mechanic Falls shortly. So I think that's it. I think that's our tour, folks. I wish I had more to compare to show you the real Poland, but I did show you Poland, Maine, for what it's worth. So yeah, thanks for coming, and till our next road trip. Peace.